This video is going to be my theory on how to be happy. And it's not very complicated, but I think the way I organize it is a little bit unique. And the way that I think about it is that there are layers of happiness. Everybody's seen Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's kind of that sort of idea where you sort of need the bottom foundations in order to get up to happiness. Happiness is something that is often the result of living life in a certain type of way. It's not often something that you get at super directly. And so this is sort of the way that I approach it. If you are in the spot right now of low energy, tired, depressed, sad, then what you need right now isn't an instant jump into happiness. What you need is to get mad. You need to get angry, partly at the fact that you're not doing anything to fix it, partly at all the things that are causing you to be sad, and use that energy to become productive. So once you move from sadness into anger, like I just said, you move into just productivity, like just doing the things that you know you need to do to give some structure to your life is often the next stage from there. So this is the really boring basic advice of like, make your bed, go for a walk, things like that. Those things can just give some structure and normalcy to your life. You start acting as if you're not feeling down and depressed, and suddenly you're feeling a lot more positive. But it doesn't stop there. That's what can be frustrating with people that give that advice. They act like that's the only thing you need to do. It's like, yeah, shower, walk, make your bed, do your work, and you'll be fine. Like oftentimes people do those things and then they get out of it and they instantly just go back into that like sadness and depression, or that there's a feeling of heaviness that carries throughout that. So what I've talked about so far have just been the things to like get you to like the bare minimum of, if you're really low, like get some anger, get some productivity, do some stuff. And before I even continue, some people might wonder, okay, but how do I motivate myself to even do that? The only way that I know of personally that works for me every single time is to think of all of the awful things that will happen if you don't. If you don't get out of bed, if you don't take that shower, if you don't start doing things, where will you be by some future age? So for me, I think of the age 40. Where will I be when I'm 40 if I don't start doing the things I know I need to do? And if I start living like this the rest of my life until I'm 40, where will I be at that point? And am I okay with that? No. So I need to get my act together now, or else that's where I'll end up. That's the best advice I have to kind of get that initial momentum going. And then from there, on top of that, once you get to that base level of like, okay, I have enough normalcy in my life to be living like a human, then it's just stacking things that you enjoy. And I know this sounds so obvious, but we don't really think that clearly when we're depressed. So I want to make it as crystal clear as possible. You need to figure out, just looking back on your life, what types of things made me happy, and start adding as many of those as you realistically can without like straining your schedule back into your life. And then on top of that, once you get those like consistent things, like, oh yeah, reading has always made me happy. I haven't done that in a long time. Painting has always made me happy. I haven't done that in a long time. Once you get those, introduce new things, because humans are made to have a combination of familiarity and novelty. It's kind of like the yin yang, where you need a little bit of both. And so think of, what can I do that I've never done before? This does not have to be drastic. This does not have to be divorce your spouse and move to a new country type of crazy. It doesn't have to be quit your job type of crazy. It can be as simple as, on my way home from work, instead of stopping at this restaurant to get food, I'm going to go stop at this restaurant and try something new. Or I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy ingredients to make that meal that I saw on TikTok where somebody had a great recipe and it looked really good. I'm going to do something new, try something new. So you've got the foundation, you've got the old habits that bring you happiness, you have the new things that you're trying. And then at this point, I would also really recommend some type of mindfulness or meditation or spirituality practice. You can read a holy text like a Bible. You can read poetry even and like just reflect on it. You can set a timer and meditate, which I've talked about in a previous video. You can look up like inspirational videos and listen to them and then journal and reflect on them. something that you are intentionally doing for, 5 to 20 minutes each day that's going to just be about you. Something that connects you to yourself, to your values, to your own inner world. That's why I love meditation. I feel like there's a whole interior world to discover and to explore. And if you are not doing that, then it makes sense that you're kind of like dissociating or sad or feel disconnected because you're not connecting with yourself. And sadness and depression can actually be a way that your unconscious mind is sort of forcing you to get into connection with what you're feeling. And if you can start feeling those things more proactively, whatever you're sad about, whatever you're happy about, then that will help a lot. Gratitude, by the way, is a huge one where you can just sit down at the end of each day and reflect on your day, kind of walk through a timeline of what you did that day and think of, okay, what are 3 things I can pick out that I was grateful for? Because neurologically, for whatever reason, was actually obvious. It's survival. We get memories into our like longer term memory in our brain much, much faster and easier than we do positive experiences. I heard it can take just like a fraction of a second for a negative memory to really imprint itself on your brain, but it takes about 15 seconds of focusing on something that you are grateful for before it becomes like a longer term memory. So if you can spend 45 seconds, it's not very long, but 45 seconds each day, maybe part of like one of these other practices, just remembering small things, big things that you're grateful for, it doesn't matter. That can really begin to stack and make a long-term difference over time. And that's basically it. Like, it's really, really simple. Again, the process is go from apathetic to mad to productive, and then stack in the things that you've already done that make you happy, add novelty to your life, and then have some type of practice that is focused on just making you feel good. Because feeling good is your birthright. Happiness is your birthright. I really believe that humans are born happy, and we find all kinds of reasons why not to be happy. And so a big part of the way that I view those types of practices like meditation and breath work is I'm just trying to strip down the things that are trying to tell me that for some reason I shouldn't be happy until I just get back to my neutral state of happiness. Hopefully that helps, and I hope you have a happy life.